What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another installment of the Hall of Game live stream or podcast. I'm going to try to make this also into an audio format once I get everything set up. I want to shout out to brother High Def, who was on me about making more content for the Black Manosphere. I got a little bit busy, but I did want people to know that Black male development is something that this channel still focus on, and that's what the Hall of Game live stream was targeted to: the African American male community, particularly those that were looking into entrepreneurship, business, leveraging connections, leveraging a network. Brothers that are in the blue collar field, brothers in the white collar field. This show and live stream is about bringing talented Black men together, and this is why we created this live stream. Usually we have Brother Gabe, Brother Coach Ali. I think it's my fault today because I sent the link too late. But we do have two brothers that at least one of them is always on the hall. Rent Turner, and we have Brother George Macon, who the Negro was on here, and he dropped off. But I want to give a shout out to all the moderators in the Manosphere. I see Brother Elite Class Truck. I see Big Duke. One of you brothers know I love you guys, and I'm glad to do this show tonight. Let me let Brother Wrench Turner introduce himself, and we'll get started. Go ahead, Brother Wrench.
Yes, sir. What's going on, man? This is Wrench Turner out of Dallas, Texas. Glad to be back on the hall, man. It's been a minute. I think that with this COVID stuff, everybody has just been kind of either pushing it to the limit or kind of pivoting and trying to figure out what else they're going to do. But a brief background on myself: I work in leadership and manufacturing, specialize in growing people, now growing supervisors to be future production managers, and in process improvement. And recently, a new business owner of circa 70 auto restoration, man, specializing in restoring old vintage cars from around, I would say 65 to 75. We will mess with some kind of, some B-bodies, some Monte Carlos, some Malibus and stuff like that, but primarily older land yachts. So glad to be here, man, and just grateful and ready to contribute.
All right. And we did have the brother George, but he was going to come in. Everybody knows Brother George Macon. But I wanted to make this show, and typically I don't come up with the topics of the Hall of Game. The topics of the Hall of Game come from Gabe, Brother Patrick, Hassani, and you, actually. People don't know that you contributed a lot to the Hall of Game content strategy. But there was an exchange that went on last night between George Macon and Hassani. And not that it was a bad disagreement or anything like that, but it was somewhat of a misunderstanding that got cleared up. And
Okay.
I wanted to talk about this on the show today because a lot of times as Black men, there's a stereotype about us, brother Wrench, as if we're all the same. We're typically in the all hip hop but Black men are just as diverse in the African American community as everybody else in any other community. And when we talk about code switching, we typically know how to, talk in the let's say in hood vernacular. And when we get around the Caucasians or the European crowd, we switch and we code switch to, formal vernacular, formal English. But when we talk to other Black men who are not like us, as far as what our hood vernacular would be, our Black community vernacular, when they don't talk like us, we tend to not want to talk to them at all. So we can't form that relationship because the code switching mechanism is switched off. And so a lot of times Black men can't effectively communicate with other people that sound different or have different interests. And so I wanted to know from the hall tonight, how can Black men effectively communicate and code switch with other African American men to forge relationships?
Yeah, so what I'll tell you from experience, I'll give you a couple examples. So from experience, I can tell you that you will run across some brothers who, they are straight-laced, right? They speak with a certain tonality. Maybe they lighten up their voice. I know traditionally we have heavier voices or deeper voices. Some of them will kind of lighten them up around certain demographics, right? But in time, depending on the industry that you're in, and what I will say, the more difficult the industry or the more stressful and how strong the industry is, it's only a matter of time before you get to see who the real person is. In my particular field, in my day job, um, it's stressful. Everybody's expected to perform at a high level, and so eventually you'll see, somebody lose their cool, or somebody is not hitting their numbers, and they break character. But one of the things that I can tell you is brothers are more subject to come to that cultural common ground once you see how talented each other are. Um, and guys and brothers become more comfortable with each other. So you'll have a lot of guys who maybe have really advanced degrees, maybe in positions of leadership. They are straight laced, and they walk a straight line. But once they see how talented you are, and they see that, all right, this guy's good at he's good at what he's doing, or at what we're doing. He understands the business. He adds value to the business. He's growing people. They're more subject to kind of let their guard down. They'll say, okay, this guy, even though you may not necessarily have the same tonality, or you may not articulate the same way they do, they'll at least say, at the end of the day, he can hold his own. I can count on him if I need him. And so you get to see, some of that hard exterior, comes down. But you also have some who, they're not going to eat lunch with you. They're going to go with they're going to go with the same certain crowd that they always go with. And sometimes that can be because they feel uncomfortable because they don't come from the same environment as us. So even though even though we may look alike, they may have grown up in a certain area where, white people were the majority, and that's literally that's where they're comfortable at, because that's all that they've seen. For me, I was lucky enough I come from the hood. I'm from the projects, right? But somewhere between late elementary, into middle school, and into high school, it was really, really diverse. So I had an opportunity to kind of get a feel for everybody. I never lost my sense of self, or my sense of who I am and where I come from. But I also learned the importance of being able to articulate, code switch when you need to. But also find some common ground where you're not necessarily, your pants are not pulled up, and you really, cooning it up, acting like somebody that you're not. But at the same time, you're not coming in with a do-rag on, pants around your knees, talking shit. So there's a fine balance that after you do it for a while, you level out, and you end up getting the respect that's due to you based on your skill set, based on your proven record. And you don't have to, necessarily code switch so much.
Okay, no. Great points. Great points. Thank you, brother DeAndre Kershaw, for the super chat. I want to let brother George, and then we go to brother Gabe. Go ahead, brother George.
So when you asking like code switching, like what do you actually mean, so that way I can be correct?
So you know how a person code switches when you're dealing with a black person, and you go into the white society, and then you all of a sudden you're speaking better English and things like that. But with black men, a lot of times there are black men that are different from us, and we'll code switch for white people, but we won't try to switch and try to relate to another brother. Maybe tone down our ego a little bit, or we don't try to adjust to the other black men that are around us. Right.
I got you. Well, I think that we do that because we, as black men, we don't. For the most, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay.
For the most part, we don't have respect for each other, and I'm not. And I'm not saying that in the manner of, because of a man like we got certain. Let me try to articulate this the right way. We have respect for each other and fear that something can happen to you. But when it comes to economics, when it comes to education, we don't respect each other. So I ain't got a code switch for this nigga. I'll code switch for Mr. Charlie. When Mr. Charlie come around, I start tucking my shirt in, telling my homeboys to stop being so loud. When I'm out in their neighborhoods, I won't throw my trash out the window but I throw it out the window in South Philly. So as black men, because we have never really been subordinate to each other and dependent upon each other, that level of respect that we give Mr. Charlie, we won't give each other. So we won't code switch for each other. I think if we're in certain environments where we're comfortable around each other, it's different. But when we got black people come from different places, the level of respect that we have for each other is just not. It's not there. It's not there where, and I think it's solely behind economics. Like we're not dependent upon each other. What is the punishment that black men can enforce on other black men for not code switching?
Oh, say it again. That's a very good point. Say it again.
Yeah, what is the punishment that other black men can enforce on other black men for not code switching?
Nothing at all.
Go ahead, Gabe. I'll let Gabe come in because Gabe deal with it on a business, on a professional aspect.
Go ahead,
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Like I'm just jumping in here, but yeah, I think that is absolutely true. I mean, and it reminds me of this was not even a month ago. So it's a group. We have like a little group, me and a couple other brothers and some sisters who are in the same type of field. And what had happened is that this one brother, he has more years of experience than me. And he had been training up some young ladies and some brothers to, I guess, kind of go into certain positions that are very similar in our field. So he pretty much, in the same group, he's like, yo, he's talking to me. He's like, yo, you need to reach out to your managers and your director and tell them to hire so-and-so because they ready type of thing. And like, tell them I said that they ready. And I'm like, what? I met, so we're in the same group. So everybody is here witnessing this conversation. I'm like, yo, that's not the way that we do stuff. Like, what do I look like going to my manager and my director and saying, hey, this guy from outside of our organization is telling you to hire somebody, right? And then he like, yo, you need to learn how to look out for each other more and this and that. And this, like, it was just a whole type of scenario that this brother had created that I had previously had a really good relationship with and professional relationship with. Let me tell you what this guy went ahead and did. He said, you need to learn more about networking. You need to learn more about looking out for each other. And let me tell you what he did. He sent a message to my manager, to my director, and other people within my group and telling them to hire certain people, right? I didn't know anything about this. You know how I found out? Guess how I found out?
How?
I found out because they reached out to me. My manager reached out to me and said, hey, do you know anything about this brother here? This guy here, and they're all white. I'm a black guy, right? And so I'm the only black person pretty much in my whole area. So they reach out to me and they say, hey, you know anything about this? I'm like, yeah, the thing is that he wanted to bring some people in and he's trying to bring people in with a certain skill set that I don't really know. And they're like, yeah, we can't hire them. I'm like, yeah, I agree. So as much as he tried to like find himself, try to hop over me a certain step to try to, get straight to people who are the quote unquote hirers, the hirers came back to me to really try to understand what the situation was because I've been tapped for management. I just don't want to go into that particular route.
But was that guy black?
The guy was black.
Hey, but let me
That's my whole point. That's my whole point. He was black.
Let me ask you, Gabe, because I think it's important because you work in corporate America. And the way O'Shea broke it down, I'm a dude. I've never been in corporate America. I'm a guy from the streets. I got it from mud and built my way up. But so basically, what you're saying is the same issues that we have on the block with amongst brothers not being able to code switch and not being able to get along in certain ways to do things. It's the same thing happening in corporate America amongst black men. It's the same issue. And that's why I said it boils down to a lack of respect that we have for each other as men across the board.
It's even been here on YouTube. Another brother in a similar field, he had threatened me. He said, "Yo, if I see you at a professional event, I might catch you in the bath." in the bathroom and see what's up. And I'm like, really?
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. I don't really frequent a lot of places around here no more, but you know, I mean, hey, so to kind of to your point, yes, the same type of dynamics. Because I grew up in the hood too, right? I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, on the west side. So you know, I've seen very similar things happen in professional corporate environments where brothers just don't respect each other. We don't bring each other up, but rather I see a lot of times we tear each other down, and that's where a lot of my difficulty has been. Sorry, I don't mean to be long with it, but yeah,
I think this is a great topic because you know, for me, I come from the streets, but I was in the streets getting money, so I hung in different. You know, you get to certain levels, you're not on the block no more. I hung around corporate people. I hung around people in business. And that's why when I first came into this sector, I used to always say, like, when I got into, dealing in real estate and then now creating my own nonprofit and dealing with professional people, the same nigga shit I seen on the block. I mean, the professional black men, they wasn't out shooting nobody or making a bunch of babies, but it still was nigga shit.
Yes.
I mean, it's just like, so for me, I think yesterday when me and the brother had to go back and forth, I just think that he heard me say something like that before, but it's like I'm not on the block no more. I haven't been on the block for years. I'm around the white collar brothers, and I see the same stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just trying to figure out how. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
How do we move?
Let me shout out to some super chats, right? And thank you, brother DeAndre, again. Brother Virgo. I appreciate your work. I'll show you respect, brother Native Arain. Peace, brothers. I used to stay in South Philly on Beechwood and Snyder Avenue. Great people with trashy neighborhood.
He was in the hood.
Dr. Andow, emergency medical doctor out of NYC, very important topic. And then we have Dr. Welch, who's an internal medicine resident. So we had two doctors, right, that donate back and forth. We have our brother Cornelius Edwards out of Memphis. So I want to thank the medical professional brothers and all the professional brothers, whether you drive trucks or medical doctors. All of you are very, very important to this particular podcast. And for the two doctors, I'm trying to follow in you brothers' full footsteps. Thank you for setting the example of black male achievement. And brother Welch, he has a really interesting story. I just won't tell it, but that brother has overcome a lot to get to where he is. Thank you, brother Cornelius Edwards. Let me say this as far as what I've noticed with being online in this space, because I'm from Del Paso Heights, and I grew up with brother Moses Jenkins. And, for us, we were, I wouldn't call us intellectuals or anything like that, because that's not what we were when we were coming up. But we were smart. And definitely, I would say over some people, academically, yeah, well, I know you hating on me. Well, academically, we had an advantage over certain people because our families are more stable than others were. So we knew that. And but when you're smart, at that time, there wasn't a lot of resources. When I listened to Brother Gabe talk about his stories and some of the stuff that he did in the city of Detroit, even though the city of Detroit gets a bad rap, I think for African Americans, wanting to get into certain things, there's more opportunities for African Americans in Detroit than in a place like Sacramento. So when you don't have the academic success you see in certain black cities like the Phillies, the DCs, the Atlantas, you kind of have to go along to get along. And so for us, it was, if you're going to be the nerd guy, you could get hurt. So you're going to have to learn how to communicate with people at your level. And, when you have your classes where you don't go, I was a gifted and talented, educated GATE student. So when I was there, I performed in the same fashion. It was the same way when I was in college. When I was at the university level, I talked one way to a group of guys that was in my school, and even guys that was in my school. We all did this. It's a way of survival in the African American community. And I think that what I've learned is that from being online, I knew this, but I'm more aware. I've interviewed black men that have sex dolls, black men who are incels, black men who are you know, I mean, Brother Gabe, you've been in a lot of those streams, and you know, black men that are in the blue collar, black men that are like Antoine Wade, and I on the online opened up the possibilities of how talented and how different African American men are. Guys who, you know, don't like certain types of foods and stuff like that, vegans. And I think that what it's allowed me to do is to be able to sit back and accept other black men's ability to be different from me. And I spent so much of my time trying to switch up for my employers when I was working for, you know, these companies, stuff like that. But I said, wow, I never really took the time to sit back and switch up for the brothers that's gonna do more for me, and that's black men. And I'm a living witness that black men have catapulted me to everything I have right now. I mean, the white man didn't give me what I have. Obviously, I work for it, but everything that I'm doing right now, black men are the reasons why I have it. And that's why I really appreciate you, brothers. And so I figured out that, you know what, if I depend more on the black brothers to develop, you know, myself, to develop the community, develop each other, you know, then if I can do it for the white folks, I can do it for my own people. In fact, let me spend all of my time, if I can, trying to understand different black people that just even if they're different from me. And what I found is that, you know what, we can understand one another, and then we can come to understandings. We can forge bridges. And sometimes a lot of brothers, like there's a brother named E. Dean Cole, right? For example, you guys know him on YouTube. E. Dean is a person that people would think is very braggadocious, you know, because you have some brothers that are like that, show off. And then you think that guy is doing it out of being malicious towards you. No, that's just how he is. You know what I'm saying? Even a guy like Taz, everybody knows Taz has a hard time getting along with everybody. That's just how he is. And I've understood that I try to meet people where they are at, right? And if I can meet you where they're at and you can meet me where I'm at, then there's an opportunity for me to do something further. You know, and that's one thing I like about the brothers in the prison community. A lot of black men are coming out, Kev Mack videos, if you want to talk about the ex-gang member. Oh, yeah. He's doing an excellent job on his channel. And a lot of black men that are, you know, that like the, you know, Big Herc 916 from Sacramento, these guys they don't have that problem. You know, they're meeting each other, you know, hey, we are here. Let's try to go ahead and work together. And I think a lot of times with the African-American elite guys, and I would consider, you know, if you're a brother that, you know, earns a certain amount of money, whether you went to school or not, you're a brother that's academic, you know, you're in the top performing of black men. I know, you know, most of the guys that come on my show are making $100,000 a year and up. You know, that's, but the thing about it is that, I mean, if we had a better relationship with brothers, could it be a million? Could it be? And we leave so much money on the table because, you know, we don't work together. And then we don't give no autonomy. Go ahead.
My best friend, my childhood best friend growing up, I'm 45. We've been friends for probably 40 years. And at some time, and you know, as we begin to get older, he went off to school, to college, went off to get his master's degree and all that stuff. He ended up being one, like, I told you about a top accountant. Like, he was working under the mayor's office in Baltimore. Like, you know, he's an executive now in Maryland at some company, right? And I went off in the street and was doing me. And the thing is, what I learned was, as you, how can I say it? Like, what I learned was we need each other, because when I start really like trying to clean up money and doing things, I had a lot of ideas in my head as a hustler for what I want to do. And I knew how to go out and get it, but I didn't know how to put things on paper. And I can go to Kevin, I can go to a couple other people from the hood that went to school, and they can tell me what to do, show me how to do it, you know. And as I begin to grow, I begin to say, damn, like, we really do need each other, but they need us for things too. Because we're not corporate, we're hustlers. Like, we have a mindset of ownership, not really getting a job. I want to own all these houses. I want to do all this. Kevin, show me how to do it so we can get this money together. And I think that when I was younger, I used to look at the working man as a sucker, you know, and some of the educated working men looked at me as a thug. But we're looking and judging each other instead of understanding that we actually need each other. Right. Same way other groups do. You know, and it's you know, it's like this now, like even with my nonprofit that I'm going through, I'm working with 2 black men that's showing me how to put together proposals to go in and get the money. But these are educated PhD black men. I'm from the street. I can go get money, but they're showing me how to get the corporate money. I don't have no clue how to do that. But I'm not going to the white man to do it. I'm going to some brothers to do it. So we actually do need each other.
Hey, if I can add
go
on
ahead.
to
Shout out
what,
to Super Slide for the finals. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother Wrench.
If I can add on to what the brother was just talking about. So one of the things that I've seen and noticed too is I think we overlook, and when I say it, I think it'll ring a bell for a lot of people in the chat and some of the panel members. I think a lot of times we don't realize, especially when you come from the hood, right? There's a certain charisma that you carry to where you don't necessarily have to, when you see it, you know it. And when people see it in you, they know it also. So it's not something we're thinking about because it's not something that you're doing on purpose, right? Maybe it's the way you carry yourself, even when you're being professional. Maybe it's the way you carry yourself. Maybe it's the way you say certain things. Maybe it's the way you interact with people, right? That's something that I've noticed too for myself, especially being a bigger guy. Shit, I'm damn near 6'4", right? I have tattoos on my forearms from when I was in my, Pookie and Ray Ray days, right? And just like George was saying, I come from a hustling background too. But over the years, I've learned to be able to move within these different crowds, and it's not so much code switching. Earlier in my career, definitely was code switching because I was like, they're using words that I'm not really too familiar with, or they're talking about subjects that I'm not well versed in. But as I've worked to try and be good at what I do, whether it was in maintenance, whether it was in process improvement, whether it's in running the production line and then growing team members on the production line. I just really realized this, I would say maybe about 2 years ago. There's a certain charisma that I'm not trying to have on purpose, but I carry it with me because of my background, because of where I come from. But at the same time, being around a lot of different cultures, being around a lot of different people, and not wanting to be somebody who is just kind of lost and don't really know when to butt into the conversation or not be able to answer questions as the conversation is happening. I've figured out that there's a space that I'm comfortable in where I'm not losing my culture. I'm not losing, basically I'm not faking the funk, but it's also efficient enough where the brothers can say, man, if I got a question, I feel comfortable going and ask him because I can see it in him. And also being talented enough where another demographic can say, hey, let's go to this guy. I've seen what he's able to do. I've seen the people that have worked with him. I've kind of seen them take those strides, right? I remember I talked about it in another stream where I was telling guys, once you move into leadership, then of course tucking your shirt into something that you want to do, because you want to be able to separate yourself from the average brothers who we're trying to get to the point where they're in leadership, where they're not living check to check, where they can eventually start exploring owning their own businesses, right? So that's the point I wanted to make, that there's a certain charisma that all of us from the hood carry. It's not something we think about. You know it when you see it, and people see it on you too. So as professional as we are and as professional as we can be, we still carry that charisma that we really don't even think about.
You know what the funny thing is, O'Shea? I don't know if you ever seen my partner, Marvin Burrow, on my channel. My partner, Marvin. The funny thing is, he is like the ultimate nerd, like super, super, super nerd, like graduated top of his class, all that. Like you ask him a question about something, he break everything that he talk to you in science. Like you got to, Marvin, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Like he's from North Philly. Brother's been in the street. He wasn't. He went to school. The funny thing is, as we're moving in on this endeavor, I've noticed is something that me and you talked about on the phone a while ago, Shay. It's kind of like the street guy and the super educated brother get together. And I think, I don't know, it's kind of like at some point, the street guy's looking at the educated dude like, I want to get over to where he's at. The educated dude is looking at the lifestyle of the street brother and saying, man, I want what he got. But we're not. I think if we collaborated more and came together, we will own our communities, because the street guy is unapologetic and moving and wanting to own everything. Whereas though, like I said, the educated brother like Gabe can say, George, no, don't do it this way, do it this way.
See, no, so I don't really agree with that, because I think that a lot of times, you know, that street versus the educated dude, that there is a certain idea about us as it concerns dudes who are educated. Listen, I never hustled, I never did anything illegal. I never even got drunk before. I don't even drink to this day. But as it concerns that idea of we are kind of passive, or we are dudes who not hungry for like respect and power, like that's not it at all. Because I literally, like, I guess even in some of my endeavors, I'm looking to own pretty much where I lived, right? So I grew up in Detroit, and I've invested heavily in real estate in my own community, literally buying up the block. I mean, going on my fifth rental property right now, like continually building and growing. So I don't like, and this is no shade to hood dudes, but I've never looked at that lifestyle as something that aligned with my life and my goals and my desires. And I'm like, that's just not for me, right? I don't see it as something that is attractive to where I'm going in my life. And it's no shade to that lifestyle, but it is to say, you know, I don't think a lot of us educated brothers feel like we lack anything because we didn't go through that type of
No, that's
experience.
not what I was saying, though. I wasn't saying it in that aspect.
I don't think you're saying that.
No, I wasn't saying that. What I was saying was, see, I think what happens is we got to separate the common criminal street dude that they show in the news. I'm speaking about the brothers that accumulate X amount of dollars to the point where they're in different circles. They're hanging in the same circles with a gay man, and you don't even know what this brother does. But what happens is, as you start to, the higher you go up the ladder, you start to switch friends. Like, you know, you're in different places. So now I'm in the same places that a Gabe would be in, or my friend Kevin would be in. And you start looking at life. What would life be if I was on this side? So a lot of these guys, what happens is, and I know this from experience, because a lot of these guys, they tend to look at life differently as you begin to grow. And you want, like, I'm looking at a person that he has the wife, he has the house, nice life, he has all these things about the world, and you want those things. And then the flip side is you have family. Like Gabe comes from Detroit, so he has a different mentality. But I know that a lot of the guys that was hustlers, you know, in the hood, they had a mentality of owning things, having money, because where you come from, you have no choice. This is what comes from lifestyle. I think we got to separate the common thug who actually has money that's not even on the block no more. He's not in the street. He's hanging with people like Gabe. So, you know, and what I'm saying is we don't, like other groups, Italians, Asians, and they collaborate with their people. And you know, with their money, we don't. Like, I just think that, like, we don't know how to come together. Like, we all come from the same community. And you know what's funny? Some of us are even related. Because we separate the worlds. We don't come together. And what I'm trying to say is, if we did come together, the hustler and that the educated, we can own damn near everything in our communities. And I just think that we don't do a good. We don't. And I ain't talking about somebody that's actively selling drugs where he's about to get indicted. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about him. I'm just saying. I'm talking about a mentality.
Yeah,
you know,
that's that. Let me wait on that.
Yeah,
that's
not
what
saying.
I think. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not saying the guy that got 100 kilos in the basement. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying. My best friend Kevin, which is the educated guy, me with the street mentality. We can merge those two together. We got to merge those two together, like every other group does, and we don't. And I think that in my opinion, a lot of the educated brothers that come up through the colleges and stuff, you know, they go in for power within jobs, where the street guy want to own the whole block. And I understand what Gabe is saying, but for the most part, it's just two different.
You've seen on average, and Gabe was talking about himself, but more or less. But
I mean, not only myself, but like Antoine Wade and Andre Hackett. These aren't hood dudes. Like,
But Gabe,
these are
what was
educated brothers that want to earn it, like own their.
But let me say this though.
But they still carry that charisma though. They you know what I mean. They still carry that charisma. You can still tell. You know what I mean. Like you can tell them brothers got educations and stuff. And also, and not to interrupt you, O'Shea. Also, it's our job once we see that, just to understand it and not try to put so much emphasis on it. Like I said, when you see it, you know, man, it would be like if me and Gabe worked at the same place, right? And we're working on a problem that we can't figure out, and he like, damn, bro, let me take a break real quick. Just the fact that he used bruh, or just the there are certain nuances. Right, exactly. There are certain nuances that you know, right, without him saying, damn, my nigga, this is getting on my, you know what I mean? There are certain
say my nigga, say
right. Yeah, straight up. Like there are certain nuances that you see to where you understand. You're like, oh, okay. I may not know what neighborhood he's from. I may not know what city he's from, but
you know he on the frequency. He's on that frequency.
Exactly. He on the same frequency. He's just trying to handle his business the same way I'm trying to handle mine. Right. And it's my job to make sure I don't do nothing. I don't pull no nigga shit and put him in a position where he looks bad or bring some negative attention towards his way. You just understand it. And I think once we understand that about each other, you know, you're a lot more relaxed. It's not like we walk, you know, it's not like we're walking through the facility or the plant, right? And we doing the whole 70s handshake and kind of snapping over our shoulder or nothing. It's kind of like a head nod. All right, bro, you good? Yeah, man. I'm all right. Let me know if you need anything. All right, boy. And you pass each other by and it's understood. You know what I mean? But then on the flip side, you're able to speak the lingo and perform at a high level to where he understands that you understand where we are. There's a certain way that we got to carry ourselves in order to help empower other brothers. I got two dudes on my team that I grew up with right now. One of them, our grandparents grew up together. That works for me. I would say, and this has been as of about 3 months. I say about 90 days. He done already seen 2 raises just because of the talent that he has. And he also gets it. We grew up together, and he still treats me as if I'm his. And I don't even like saying boss, but as if I'm the manager over the team that he's on. You know what I mean? So there's rules to it that don't have to be explained once you get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me do some shout outs just real quick, George. Brother Nick Penn, 429, Shulu O'Shea, Breezy Conversations. Thank you for this type of conversation. It's greatly needed. Thank you so much. Andre Hatchett with the 429 and Brother Henry Fair, 409. Let me kind of go back to what Gabe was saying in the exchange between him and George. So let me kind of mediate what I was processing. George made a statement that could be considered stereotypical, that on average, the hood guy would like to be more educated and to achieve academically. And then obviously there's some things about the hood guy that black men would want. And I gave fire back with, well, it's not the case in my situation, which there's truth to both of that. But in my opinion, what I've seen is as a guy that was in school, when I saw the guys on the streets, it wasn't like that I wanted to be with a drug dealer, but they had a different persona than what I did. And the persona was that, they had a little bit more social skills. It was perceived that they were a little bit more funny. Some of the guys, they had more, clout in the community and stuff like that. And for whatever reason, the black community, all you know is that these guys have more respect than you. I think that is also a driving force in between the division between the academic black guy and the guy that's, on the streets, because it's like, well, wait a minute, this guy is doing this, whether it's music, which is why a lot of black men want to go into music. And black men want to go into the streets because there is a certain level of clout and respect that you get. But then also what Gabe was saying, there are a lot of black men that want to, be entrepreneurs, which he's true. It's more of us than people want to admit. But living in Uganda, as a person that's not a Ugandan citizen, I can't get a job here. I can't get a job as with the government like that, right? So it forces me that my options are very limited as to what I can do. So because of that, entrepreneurship is the only way out. Just like a lot of immigrants that come to the United States. entrepreneurship is the only way out. That's how Bank of America started. It actually started because some Italians came together to start Bank of America. So I think that what happens is the guy that it's in the streets, he looks at a lot of his opportunities, whether it's true or not, as this is the only way that I'm going to do. That's why you see a lot of guys who are doing really good in the entertainment, like Jay-Z. It makes sense that he used to be, wasn't a drug dealer. It's that mentality. If you look at Jay Prince, guys like that, it's that mentality is Master P, right? Guys who have some kind of connection to street elements, their mentality is something that and I think with academic guys, look at Gabe, for example. And this is no shade at Gabe, but let's use Gabe as a prime example. Gabe was a person that went to Michigan Tech and was an electrical engineer. Gabe is also so fucking smart that he can switch to cybersecurity. I was talking to him last week before the show started. He's doing both now at the same time. That's very ambidextrous as far as a guy who has talent academically. Let's be honest. How many black men academically are that gifted that you can switch? Your options are available to you. Gabe gets job offers all the time from big companies we'll talk about. But when you're a guy that's very limited from the streets, hey, Master P can't do electrical engineering. You ever heard Jay Prince talk? Like, no offense, but Jay Prince is not a intellectually gifted man with words, right? So his options are very limited, although his entrepreneurship IQ is very high. Look at Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson has some of the worst speech ever in the history of NBA commentating. But entrepreneurship, he's brilliant. So when you see guys that know that their academic skills are not up to par, or they know they can't do those things, they're a little bit more aggressive with it. That's why I think a lot of times when you come to entrepreneurship, those guys tend to be more successful. Guys that have more of the street mentality, whether illegally or legally, because they have to go hard in those things. Guys like Gabe or even myself, we tend to have. I mean, I'm doing this YouTube channel. I'm almost done with medical school. I have so many things I can do, but a lot of brothers out there just don't. And when they narrow in and zoom in on it, they do very well because that's the mentality.
And this build on this, and I told you this on the phone before. What a lot of educated brothers don't know, because a lot of that's why I said we got to separate the hood thug dude in the street just doing dumb shit, the hood book. A lot of successful brother hustlers in the streets, guys that's made money successful, they envy brothers like Gabe, smart brothers. I told you this on the phone before. I envied my best friend Kevin because I wanted his life. I wish I was as smart as him. When I got to a point where I had cars and houses and certain things, I wanted what he had. And I think that a lot of people don't really understand that. That's why when a lot of those dudes, when they get to a certain level, they're not on the block no more. They got suits on. They start putting on suits. They start trying to go corporate because they want to be like the corporate homie from the way. But when you're in the hood, you can't show that because it's looked at as a form of weakness or corny. Unfortunately, where we come from. But I need all smart dudes to know most of those dudes that you knew where you come from that was getting money, he actually want to be you. He's trying to get to a level to be you. Sometimes they get killed or go to prison beforehand. He's trying to get to the level of being you. That's the crazy. That's the crazy part of it.
Another part of that too is a lot of the guys who come from the street, right, and end up transitioning into whether it's a corporate role or whether it's some kind of in some form of leadership. Those guys are outliers, right? You have dudes in the hood who get money hand over fist, right? But they're hemorrhaging that money right, whether it's at the strip club or whether it's on exotic cars. Dude got 40 bullet pits and he ain't feeding them because he done bought all these dogs and forgot about them, and now you know what I mean. So the guys who are hell in the street and then can transition and be excellent businessmen, those guys are outliers. And I'll give you an example. There's a guy that I grew up with that I always had nice vehicles. I always had a lot of money. I always had, and he wasn't a rah violent type of dude. He knew how to get money. You know what I mean? Knew how to get money. He could have easily been a Gabe A had he been exposed to something different, right? Now this guy owns a couple of car lots. You know what I mean? Still getting money hand over fist. He just figured out how to switch his hustle into something that's legal, which I
Right.
think most guys are looking to do if they have some kind of common sense, right? But the guys that are able to operate at a high level in the streets are often able to operate in a high level in another industry because the hustle, the dog is still there. You know what I mean? The dog is still there. So maybe he the guy that get up before everybody and he catch all of the smokers and cluckers before everybody get up. He make his 5 or 10,000 and he go sit down somewhere, right? Or he give it to his girl to do whatever she gonna do and flip it, whatever the case may be. And then you have the ones who they get up whenever they get up and they kind of catching what's left. That same guy may be up late at night researching something that have to do with accounting because he knows that he's going to transition into a legal hustle. Or he may be looking up how to get his certificate of occupancy to get a building, or he may be looking up, you know what I mean? So the hustle is still there. They just switch it from the street to something else, but that's not something that every street guy can do. Now they may want to do it, but not once they see all of the work that goes into it. It's like, man, hell no, I'm gonna stick to hustling this easier. You know, they won't say that to you. They won't say that to you, Georgia Gabe. But once they see, like, damn, man, I got to do all this, man, they'll kind of let it fall by the wayside. Versus that guy who is really hell in the street. He like, no, I'm gonna stay up until I figure it out, and if I don't figure it out, I'm gonna get up in the morning and I'm gonna go for it again. And if I don't have it then, I'm gonna reach out to some of my homeboys that I know went to college, or I'm gonna go and talk to the chick up the street that got this hair salon, and I'm gonna ask her. Like, that dog never leaves. They never give up. So that's what's rare in the hood. If we had more of that in the hood, where brothers had that hunger, because just to be honest and being full transparent, man, I done did it. Selling dope is easy, man. You get it, break it down. Whatever you do with it, and you literally are you basically, you're dealing with fiends. You know what I mean? You're dealing with fiends. They're gonna come and get it either way. What's harder is to figure out a lane that you are comfortable in, that you're good in, that you are curious enough about to learn, and then learn how to master that and still keep that same hustle. All dudes in the hood can't do that.
I think to bring it back, right? What happens in the hood is, whether you in LA, Philadelphia, big cities, Chicago, Detroit, when you get like a brother Gabe A, or see, I ain't even talking about the brother that's nickel and diamond, or just, I'm talking about the brother that's seeing some M's. What happens is neither one of them is in the hood anymore. Gabe A is no longer in the hood. The brother that's seeing M's is not in the hood either. He started out in the hood, but he had enough intelligence amongst his peers to elevate to a higher level. See, people, that type of hustle is super hard. It's like running an industry. I mean, he's controlling men. And what happens is, how I'm correlating this to the code switching is, what happens is we're so separate from each other. Like, we're not near each other. Like, it's kind of like if I got a suit on and I'm at a gala, I'm somewhere that Gabe A or somebody or Andre Hatchett may be. I'm not going to ever tell them what I do for a living. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like when I get there, they don't know about what I may have had to do to get to where I'm at. They just know that I might have partnered up with some real estate, and that's how I'm there. I think that we don't really, like, we're not talking and we're not communicating with each other where we can build anything. Or that's why I created the Urban Nerds, where younger people in the communities can actually see a person like a Gabe A. They see more of people of my ilk than a Gabe A, so they strive to be more like people like me. And I think that if we did code switch and talk more amongst each other, we'll be able to break barriers and ice, build, and then actually teach young black boys coming up. Because I would rather produce more Gabe A's than Jay Prince's, because everybody not going to turn out to be a Jay Prince. They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it.
Yeah, Jay Prince is definitely very, very bright. But I get he's very smart, man.
But what he had to do to get there, the average brother making it they end up with a permanent post.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that I just think that in our communities as black men,
Mm-hmm.
when I start off with the lack of respect, we actually judge each other. We're more prejudiced amongst each other than the damn near the white man is towards us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he sees us all as niggas, but we got problems within our own structure. And I like I said, we're all guilty of it at times. Look at them niggas over there. Look at them suck horny. We do it to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We do it to each other, and we're not building. And like I said, when I got to a certain level of going to being able to get on a plane and go to different places, and meet different people, I wasn't talking as ratchet as I used to no more. I wasn't doing. It was even certain places I went to I couldn't take my homies. I can't take these niggas because this is a different crowd.
Facts.
There's a different crowd. So, so I learned how to not live outside of the South Philly way of thinking, and get into a different type of thinking. So I think that if we did talk more, we would. And I think that I don't even like to use that term educated lane. I think the educated black man, he needs to show himself more.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be shown more than people like I was when I was in the community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me do this real quick and shout out to the brother benevolent. Well, I'm not going. Well, thank you for the money, but brother mediocre tutorials and reviews. This is a brother that went to a top 50 MBA school. He's killing on his channel. He might be making more on YouTube now than is a job, but he's a very, very intelligent man doing some content. Or I would be here. Much love, gents. Y'all killing it. I'm glad to see this brother is on fire right now. Shout out to brother Solo TV 84 to exposing him to me, and he's really, really doing a great job. But some of his best content is not even on that channel. If you look at some of the things he's talked about, what he does, consulting, very, very smart man, very, very intelligent black man. We're glad to have him in our professional communities. Let me just weigh in just real quick. One of the things that, when I look at, since I've been living overseas, when I look at other men, and it didn't strike me until 2016. One of my favorite cities in the world that I like to go to, outside of everybody knows about Kampala and Johannesburg, but one of my favorite cities is Lviv, Ukraine. It's a city I love. I don't even really like Europe like that, but I love Lviv, right? Or you could say Lviv. And when I went to Lviv in 2016, I noticed that in Lviv, there are a lot of Turkish men there. And I was sitting back and I was like, why are all these Turkish guys here? I would see them in the club. I was even seeing them help each other pick up girls, right? And, my friend, I hate to say this, but one of my boys actually hired a prostitute one night, and we was all mad at him because he came to the house, and she was talking about that, usually, she prefers dealing with Turkish customers. And I've seen that they created this cell phone company called LifeSell, which is the third biggest company in Ukraine, and they get a lot of respect. And I'm seeing these guys who are out of their element and how they've created this economy. They run restaurants, they have nightclubs, and I was amazed because these are guys that are not from here, and these men are helping each other take over this city's economy. Mm-hmm. And it took me aback to, I'm like, well, damn, like, shit, the African American economy is way better than whatever the money they're making here. Why don't I have this same attitude towards other African American men? And then I when I start thinking about all the opportunities that are lost, I was devastated, because who knows how many billions of dollars that black men leave on the table every year because simply we just don't even work together. We don't even have no administration of, we don't even have black male blogs as much as we should. We don't have, black male business summits. We don't have a lot of things that's targeted to our community. And hopefully, in the next 5 or 10 years, we will see those things emerging. But I've seen literally, when even in the continent of Africa, on the way to Mbale, and we're going to talk about, I have a blog on my other channel. I want everybody to come to Kinganda and see this. Everybody knows the Chinese are developing a lot of infrastructure in Africa. And you see Chinese men all the time on the continent of Africa, Lebanese men all the time, and they're in a foreign place, and they're helping pulling each other up. I talked about that last night with the Indian men. So I said, you know what? These are, and let's be honest, communities and economies are built by men. Really, if you want it to be stable. Now, the African American community is kind of a little bit different. But when men come together and start to orchestrate things and start to develop, because let's be honest, men build, women move in, right? That's what I heard somebody put in the comments. So I think a lot of times, I can tell you this, for just being in the black manosphere, Negroes have made me more money than I probably would have. And now it's like, okay, do you want to even finish, which I'm going to do? But now it's like the economy is so good for me in manosphere, and just even black male content, whether it's professional or entertainment, I don't have to worry about money at all, ever. Like, for 4 years, to be able to walk into any mall, any place, and I can buy anything. I can buy any car I want. I can buy a house. There's nothing that I can't buy. Like, it wouldn't hurt me. And that's just because, I've taken the initiative to just say, you know what? Let me just develop for the people that look like me. Let me work with people that look like. And it's a shame that you don't see other people doing it. But when you don't do that, you leave opportunity on the table.
Can I say something controversial?
Yes, sir.
Me being African American and Cuban.
When
you look at other groups, they allow their, especially in other countries too, unlike how you talked about in Ukraine, but the educated class and the underworld works together to build communities. What happens in the black community was they always locked our underworld people up. But when you go back to the 40s, the 50s, they funded the churches and the Black Power movements, and they also funded some of the civil rights movements that you had in the Italian communities. The mafia and the underworld built those whole communities.
Yeah,
they funded those churches. What they did to us to keep us under control of their system, we just was able to have an educated class, but not an underworld. So that's why we're not dependent or subordinate towards each other. There's no type of black code or punishment in the way we would move. Other groups still, Chinatown has a Chinese underworld. They also have
that's definitely a good point.
They also have a political structure. They have a whole culture based around that. We don't as African Americans. Africans have it, but we don't as African Americans. And we've been bred over the years to actually look down upon each other, where other groups look to each other. So on the Latino side, man, those Latinos, they got a whole underworld that fund every fucking thing, from their politicians to everything. And Arturo ain't gonna be the one to come out and be the spokesman. They're gonna use their finances to build up somebody else to be the spokesman for the group. Politics. They control all of their reasons. These Dominicans with these stores on every corner. Why you think they got stores on every corner? They clean and wash money. They got politics. They got everything. We don't have that because there's a separation between that educated brother and the street brother. We can't stand each other. While everybody else that's how they operate. And some of y'all may not understand what I'm saying because you can't even conceptualize what I'm saying. Because you conditioned, look at, oh man, these guys are breaking the law. And I'm like, listen, man, when it comes to these people are going for power. And you're watching the other groups get power, and they have whole communities. But they have legal and illegal, unfortunately. And I'm not saying that it's right, but in America, it's the fucking American way. And that's how they build communities, man. Not off the fucking government. The government want to spend as less money on you as they possibly can. They want to know what you bring into the table so they can add on.
Exactly. I'll say it again. Say that again, bro. Say it again.
Yeah. They want to know what you bring into the table as a people so that they can add on. That's what they want.
Yes. So we'll go to the last round, guys. What I'm going to do is let everybody say what they're going to say. And then, guys, what I want you guys to do is I have a video that I want you guys to see. It's my first trip to the village in Mbale. I want you guys to come over and support the video that I'm getting ready to do on the King Gandhi YouTube channel. So I would appreciate it if you guys come over here. And this is a video on agribusiness. They got me over here looking real ugly on the photo family, but I want you guys to come over all and so we can start that. We worked really hard on the production. It took us about 2 or 3 days. So I want you guys to see, how we went to the village and to the chicken farm, and maybe it might be an opportunity for you if you might do it in rural America or come to Africa and do it. So, but I'll let everybody else shout themselves out, and we'll go ahead and move to the other place.
Yeah. So y'all go ahead and start off. Yeah, I think that I came in a little late to the conversation, but I think probably the biggest thing that I captured from what we were discussing was just out of respect between all, I guess, groups of black men. I think that that's something has been very important. And at the same time, I'm like, man, I want to work with brothers like on a consistent basis, but if I'm not respected, I'm not working with you. Straight up.
Right.
Like if you talk down to me, if you act like you got something over me, if you don't try to look for ways where we can collaborate, rather you looking for ways where you kind of sizing me up and trying to compare your life to mine, I'm really not rocking with you at all. I'm just gonna move on to other things. And you know what's crazy? One thing that I've experienced is that people outside of our community, people outside of black males, brothers, have looked out for me. I mean, it's just starting to add up now. It's just starting to get crazy how much people outside of my community have looked out for me over people within my community. So at this point, you know, I'm looking for all opportunities of collaboration, but at the same time, if it's not foundational in that of respect, I could leave it. Real talk. And yeah, it's kind of where I stand. And yeah,
I
man,
feel you.
Thanks for having me. I definitely appreciate it. Hopefully,
well, you know, I'm bringing the Hall back,
it.
man.
Yeah.
You know, I felt bad making all this celebrity junk money, and I wasn't doing my mission. So, you know, brother High Def, brother, you know, you need to come back to some more black male content. So I'm up to now. I will try to run it tomorrow and probably take off the next day. I will be in Kenya. So if any African American brothers in Kenya, I'll be there this weekend for a few days. But
I'm going back to New York tomorrow morning. I gotta get a
New
COVID
York
test, man. This is wild.
Oh man, I know. I gotta get mine too. How long does it take?
I don't have it, huh? Well, you know, I'm getting one of the
24
rapid response ones because I need to. I got a customer in New York that I have to visit, but they have a company policy to say that if your originating state is from a state that's on their COVID list, so New York has my state on their COVID list, their 14-day quarantine. So if I give a positive, negative result for a COVID test, I can conduct business. But if not, I have to go back home. So, you know, I gotta, you know, I'm just making it happen. So yeah, man. Anyway, that's another side.
Yeah, no problem. So brother Wrench, and then we'll go with George. And then guys, I want you guys to go check out my first trip to the village. Thank you, brother Coach. Go ahead, brother Wrench.
Yes, sir. So, you know, first of all, I appreciate all y'all brothers on the panel, man, and what y'all bring to the conversation. I think that the information that you guys bring and the point of view that you all bring is valuable, and it needs to be heard by a lot of the brothers that listen to this channel. What I'll say is, you know, when you see a brother that's in a position of authority, or that's in a position where he's dealing with a lot of brothers, or he's dealing with a lot of the other demographic, try to understand how difficult that work is. Being somebody who deals with a majority of brothers, right? And growing them, man, it, you know, when you talk about woke, right? For those of us who are really, really woke, right? Woke for real, you have to have a love for us in order to do that real work. And I'm talking about where it's tangible, right? Where I'm literally sitting brothers down and, hey man, here going an extra $3 an hour, or hey, this position just opened up. I threw your name in the bucket, and you know you salaried and you damn near at 100K a year, right? And these are, and I'm talking about brothers that come from backgrounds like us, hood backgrounds, or backgrounds where it's a single parent home or their grandparents raised them. That work is supremely difficult. So I would ask that if brothers are ever in a situation where they see that, try to support that brother, man. Trust that he's not going to use you as a stepping stone to get to where he needs to be and not look back. I was in a situation where I had a young brother who was my manager, and he was apprehensive. I think that was my first comment on, or one of my most memorable comments on your channel. It was so long I had to drop a 50 spot for it. But I think it was important. It was important enough to do that because brothers need to know that there are some brothers out here, man, and I will say I'm one of them, and I work with some every day who are in the business of growing purposefully growing black men, but it's not necessarily on the surface where I'm saying, or these other guys are saying, hey brothers, we here to get you to the next level because we black. It's you marching to the tone of the business that you're in, but if you take time to kind of slow everything down and look at the teams that are built, or look at the teams that these brothers build, what you'll see is a lot of folks who are growing, bringing in more money to their families, are able to catch up on back child support, able to take care of their kids, able to take care of their significant others, able to take care of these black families. And it's all being done purposefully. And that work is supremely difficult. So I would say, don't write off a lot of brothers as lames, or don't necessarily take the approach that you may not have nothing in common with them. And even rolling it back to how I kind of first started the conversation, when you see it, you know it, and if you can see it in them, I'm pretty sure they can see it in you, because I deal with it every day. So that charisma that we carry, that we really don't even think about, trust me, it's noticed. And after that, after it's noticed, it's just a matter of building up that trust. And once that trust is built, man, the sky's the limit, man. The sky's the limit. So brothers, give each other the benefit of the doubt, and try to support each other whenever possible. Now you're gonna get burned in the process. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna get burned in the process, but we gotta love us enough to take that risk and put our necks out there, and try to reach out and help each other.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Cairo, for the 224.99 super chats, and then Brother Coach Ali, thank you again. And then guys, we'll let Brother George talk, and then we're gonna go right to my King Ghana YouTube channel to check out this documentary player. Go ahead, Brother George.
Yeah, I'll end it by saying this. My brother Gabe said something important before he left off, where he said a lot of his advancements and help came from white people. And I hear a lot of brothers say that. And even with me, I made a statement earlier where I said I have friends showing me how to go through presentations to go get money to advance me from white people. And for me, I have a problem with that. Because it's not the other way around. White men are not sitting around talking about they got to go to black men for help. And I'm trying to figure out and make this my life's challenge. How do we change that? How do a George Macon, a Brother Wrench, a Gabe come on and say, well, most of our endeavors came from working with black men. We got to get some type of self-pride and love and trust amongst each other, man, because other groups are benefiting from our talents. How much money is a George Macon or a Gabe or a Wrench making these other groups who's actually helping us? They're not helping us for nothing. They're helping us for a reason. And where the talent? How much money has LeBron James made the Lakers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Miami Heat when they posted his face everywhere off of his talent? I just think that we need ownership. We need power. And I know, and I know that a lot of us, as we move up the ladder, we're going to encounter different ethnic groups, and they're going to look at us outside of ourselves and see what we're talented at, see where our talents are, and they're going to use it for their financial benefit. So while we're saying we're moving up the ladder, they're benefiting from our talents, and we got to learn how to bring that talent back home to each other. Yeah, I mean, and I don't have all the answers as to how to do it, but I know my daddy was a engineer for 40 years. I mean, you mean to tell me after 25 years he couldn't create his own company and work with another engineer to produce more young engineers? I just think that we're too afraid to step out on faith and just work with each other, man. Like, we got this. I mean, these other groups will work together to keep you employed, to make money off you, but we won't take our talents and work with each other for some reason, man. And like I said, I don't know why. So for me, in creating this Urban Nerves, I see a problem and I want to do something about it. So I decided to get up and do something about it. Hopefully I get the support of my people. That's all. Because I don't want 20 years from now my son, Gabe's children, your children get up here and they're saying the same, like our sons are saying the same thing 20 years from now that we're saying today.
Yeah.
We got to change this. We got to change it.
Okay. No, great point. So guys, let's do this. I have 13 people waiting in the chat for the Kinganda premiere. This is an agribusiness. I went to a farm. A lot of us as African Americans, man, we don't know how much money farms actually make. Especially in the South, man. That's one of the industries that we don't think about as agriculture. It made me think about agribusiness now, even in the States, if I was to go back, thinking about that. So guys, oops, I'm sending the StreamYard link. Sorry about that. Don't click on that. But let me send you guys the link to the video on the Kinganda YouTube channel. That's my African, my pro-black channel family. So go over there. We have a lot of good content that's not over here. It's a different community over there that I'm running. That's much different from the Manosphere. So guys, go over there and check out the link. A lot of you brothers are already subscribed. So we're going to start over there right now. So head over to the Kinganda YouTube channel to watch this premiere. It is going to be very, very good. You can see the things that we are trying to do as far as, content creation in Uganda. And we're trying to do some good things, man. We have a really good talented team. So again, it's just working with each other. And let me just give a shout out to Brother Cairo for the 224.99 super chats, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brother P. Rod. Thank you, Linux. Peace out, brother. See you on Kinganda.